YouTube, what's going on, fam, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over the top 7 meta loadouts to use in Warzone right now after the Season 2 Reloaded update. And I'm going to go through all the attachments with you guys on each gun, and I'm going to go from 7 to 1 in this list. But before we get into this list, guys, if you guys could drop a like on this video, hit the subscribe button, and be sure to share and tell a friend. I would truly appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get into the list. So starting off with number 7 in this list, we have the MTZ 762 and the Striker SMG. Going with the attachments, starting with the MTZ. For the muzzle, we got the Casus Break L. It's going to help massively with that horizontal recoil and that firing aim stability. For the barrel, we got the MTC Precision Platform Barrel. It's going to help a lot with that bullet velocity and range, that aiming ideal sway and firing aim stability. For the optic, I always say in these videos, guys, optic is a personal preference, but for me, I'm absolutely loving the Jack Glassless optic right now. That clean blue dot sight gives me the vibes of the OG Warzone blue dot we had, and I'm absolutely loving it. But like I said, personal preference on the optic. For the underbarrel, we've got the Bruin Heavy Support Grip. It's going to help with that gun kit control, that aiming ideal sway, that horizontal recoil, and that firing aim stability. And then for the magazine, we have the 30 round mag. Moving on to the Striker SMG. For the muzzle, we got the Zem 35 compensated flash hider. It's going to help with that vertical recoil, that horizontal recoil, and that firing aim stability. Moving on to the barrel, we've got the Striker Elite long barrel. It's going to help with that aiming ideal sway, that recoil control, that gun kit control, and help with that bullet velocity and range as well. For the stock, we got the no stock, and it's going to help massively with the mobility on this thing, where it's going to improve that aim down sight speed, the sprint to fire speed, aim walking speed. And if you do care about tack stance, it's going to improve that as well. Moving on to the underbarrel, a staple in all my SMG loadouts that I always attachments I just find is a must use for SMGs, and that is the DR6 hand stop on the underbarrel. It's going to help massively that aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and aim walking speed. And then for the magazine, we have the 48 round mag. Great loadout, guys, to use right now, in my honest opinion. The only issue is this, is that the MTZ 762 with the nerfed it received to the damage at the beginning of Season 2, with the damage per mag you're getting with the 30 round, is not the best. So that's why it's lower on this list and sitting at number 7 and not at the top. Whereas prior to the nerf they received in Season 2, everyone was using the MT 762 because the damage was so high that really running the 30 round mag wasn't an issue. And the Striker SMG, just an SMG it's not talked about, but it's actually a very good option to use right now. Moving on to number 6 in this list, we have the MTC 556 and the WSP Swarm. Starting off with the MTC 556, for the muzzle we got the Casus Break, and once again it's going to improve that horizontal recoil and that firing aim stability. Onto the barrel we got the MTC Drifter Heavy Long Barrel. It's going to help with that bullet velocity and range, that aiming ideal sway, that recoil control, and that gun kit control. For the stock we got the MTC Marauder stock. It's going to help with that recoil control and that gun kit control. For the underbarrel, Bruin Heavy Support Grip, once again it's going to help with that gun kit control, aiming ideal sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability. And for the magazine we got the 50 round drum. If you guys don't like the iron sight on this, I will personally take off the stock and replace it with an optic of your choice. Once again, for me it's going to be the Jack Glassless optic, but for me I really like the iron sight build on this because it takes away that visual recoil a little bit more, and I don't mind the iron sight. But if you do want to change it, take off the stock, put on an optic on of your choice. Moving on to the WSP Swarm. Literally this was meta for the longest time in Season 1 when Warzone 3 first dropped, but it's now still a very good option. But the only issue is this, is the damage range you get on there. Anything from over 10 meters, the damage drop off is massive on this, but anything from 10 meters or closer, this is still a very good option to use right now in Warzone. But anyway, to the attachment, starting with the muzzle, we've got the Zem 35 compensated flash hider. It's going to improve that vertical recoil, horizontal recoil, and that firing aim stability. Onto the barrel, we got the WSP Reckless 90 long barrel. It's going to help with that bullet velocity and range, that aiming ideal sway, gun kit control, and recoil control. Optic, I just like the optic on this SMG, guys, because I'm not the biggest fan of the iron sight on the WSP Swarm. I just feel like it takes up a lot of the screen when I get into gunfights. So for me, I run the optic, and once again it's the Jack Glassless optic. For the stock, we've got the FSS Fortress Heavy stock, because it does have struggle with the recoil because it is such a sort of high mobility SMG, I would say, and a small SMG. Smaller SMGs tend to have a lot more visual recall and harder to control, so putting on this FS Fortress heavy stock really helps with that. So it's going to improve that gun kit control, that recoil control, firing aim stability, and once again, if you care about the tac stance, it improves that as well. And then for the magazine, we got the 100-round drum, and trust me, this is absolutely OP on this. Still, the fact that you get to use a 100-round drum on an SMG with this fire rate without affecting its mobility, it's absolutely insane. So still a very good loadout to use, guys. It's probably a solid loadout to use. Like the MTZ 556 is very easy to use, so maybe for like the more casual player in Warzone, you're going to really like this loadout because of the little to no recoil on the MTC 556. And like I said, anything from under 10 meters, the WSP Swarm is still very good. At number 5 in this list, we have the Holger 556 and the Striker 9 SMG. Once again, starting with the Holger 556 for the attachments, so we've got the case spray for the muzzle. It's going to help with that horizontal recoil and that firing aim stability. You guys, if you really wanted to, could use the VT7 Spirit Fire suppressor to improve that bullet velocity and that recoil control. But for me, I just feel like the gun feels better with the case spray. But if you do want to mix it up, you can put on that suppressor if you want to. For the barrel, we got the Cryos 6 match. It's going to help with that bullet velocity and range, that recoil control, and that gun kit control. Once again, optics personal choice. I'm using the Jack Glassless, and I'm using this on all my long range guns just to stop talking about it as we go on in the video. For the stock, we got the RB Adult Assault stock. It's going to help with that recoil control and that gun kit control. And then for the magazine, we got the 40-round mag. Moving on to the Striker 9. Personally, one of the most underrated SMGs in my opinion right now, just because we have many other SMGs which we will talk about later in this video, but I just feel like the Striker 9 really goes under the radar, but it's a solid option to use right now. So starting with the muzzle, we have the Zen 35 compensated flash hider. Once again, it's going to improve that vertical recoil, horizontal recoil, and that firing aim stability. For the barrel, the Striker Elite long barrel, bullet velocity improvements, aiming ideal sway, recoil control, and damage range improvements. For the stock, we've got the no stock to improve that mobility. It's going to help with that sprint to fire speed, movement speed, ADS speed, that aim walking speed. Under barrel, DR6 hand stock, movement speed, sprint to fire speed, ADS speed, and aim walking speed improvements. And then for the magazine, we have the 50-round drum. Honestly, the Holger 556 got a recent buff in the Season 2 Reloaded update, and I feel like it's a very good option to use right now. It's just a pity that it only has a 40-round mag. If it had a 50-round mag, for example, I think this would be a lot higher in the list because the damage is still very, very good. But the 40-round mag, even though it's still a solid magazine, it's just holding it back a little bit. And like I said, the Striker 9 is a very, very underrated SMG, so be sure to give this loadout a go. Moving on to number 4 in this list, we have the sniper loadout for my sniper community out there. This one is for you guys. We've got the XRK Stalker and the AMR 9. Starting off with the XRK Stalker, for the muzzle, we got the Sonic Suppressor XL. It's going to help with that bullet velocity and range. For the barrel, we got the Vision 60 barrel. It's going to help once again with that bullet velocity and range, that aiming ideal sway, and that firing aim stability. For the stock, we got the no stock. It's going to help massively with the ADS speed, the sprint to fire speed, the movement speed, and the aim walking speed. So it's going to help a lot with the mobility. For the ammunition, we got the 50 cal high grain rounds. Once again, improving that bullet velocity and that damage range. And then for the bolt, we got the XRK Stalker light bolt. It's going to help a lot with that rechamberling speed. And guys, this is the closest thing we've had to the Kar 98 since we lost the Kar 98. And I'm not saying it is the Kar 98, it doesn't come close to it, so I'm not saying it to you guys like that, but this is still a really, really fun sniper to use with a great ADS speed, great mobility. So all my quick scopers out there, you're going to absolutely love this sniper build. Moving on to the SMG or the sniper support AMR 9 we've paired with this sniper. Like I said, I built this as a sniper support, so it's going to be really helpful for those medium gun range fights. There's some those gun range fights that are a bit too far away for your typical close range SMG. I built it to help with those sort of gun fights, which you will come across obviously when using a sniper. So with the muzzle, we got the 735 compensated flash hider, vertical recoil control, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability improvements. With the barrel, I've gone for the AMR 9 Enforcer long barrel. It's going to help with with that bullet velocity and range, that recoil control, and that gun kick control. For the optic, like on everything, guys, the Jack Glassless optic, I just think it's so clean, so I literally just use it on everything. For the underbarrel, got the DR6 hand stop, sprint fire speed, movement speed, ADS speed, and aim walking speed improvements. And for the magazine, we got the 50 round mag. Honestly, best sniper loadout in my opinion, paired with the AMR 9, absolutely unbelievable. So for all my sniper community out there, give this loadout a go. You guys are gonna absolutely love it. Coming in at number 3 in this list, we have the SOA Subverter and the WSP 9. And starting off with the brand new battle rifle, the SOA Subverter. I'm absolutely loving this gun right now, guys, and trust me, I'm telling you, anywhere from like 30 to 40 meters, I feel like I am not losing a gunfight when using this loadout. It is absolutely insane. It could do with a damage buff from anything from 40 meters and over. Really could. That's the only thing that's holding this back. For resurgence maps especially, I feel like this SOA Subverter is absolutely perfect. But going with the attachments now, guys, for the muzzle, we got the Case Brake L. That's going to improve that horizontal recoil and that firing aim stability. For the barrel, we got the Dozer 90 long barrel. It's going to help with that bullet velocity and range, that firing aim stability, that gun kick control, and that recoil control. For the stock, we got the Motion V2 heavy stock. It's going to help with that recoil control and that gun kick control. For the underbarrel, we got the Bruin heavy support grip, got that gun kick control, aiming ideal sway, horizontal recoil, and that firing aim stability improvements. And for the magazine, we got the 50 round drum. Once again, guys, if you don't get on with the iron sight with this thing, take off the stock and put on an optic of your choice. Obviously, mine being the Jack Glassless optic. But for me, I feel like the iron sight is quite clean on this, and especially for resurgence, I feel like it's perfect with the iron sight. I saw more understanding if you're playing big map, you're playing Erkinstan, then you might want the optic just for those longer range gunfights. But resurgence, I would go with this iron sight build, and then maybe for the big map, go with the optic builds. And then moving on to the WSP 9, which is my favorite SMG right now, guys. Like, honestly, it's my favorite SMG. It's my go-to SMG. It's what I'm using all the time at the moment, especially when I'm going for high kill games as well. Absolutely love it. So starting off with the muzzle, we got the 735 compensated flash hider. For the barrel, we got the WSP Reckless 90 long barrel. It's going to improve that bullet velocity and range. For the optic, you guys already know. And for the underbarrel, DR6 hand stop, aim down sight speed, movement speed, sprint fire speed, aim walking speed improvements. And for the magazine, we got the 50 round mag. It doesn't have as quick as a fire rate as the other SMGs, but honestly, this thing hits like an absolute truck. So with the slower fire rate, it makes up with the damage it puts out, and my god, it is absolutely insane. Like, trust me, guys, you're gonna absolutely love this loadout. Moving on to number 2 and the penultimate loadout in this list, we have the Bruin and the HRM 9. Starting off with the Bruin, guys, I'm so glad that this thing is meta again in Warzone. The Bruin back in Warzone 1 was one of my favorite metas of all time in Warzone, so I'm absolutely loving that this they brought the Bruin back and it's back in the long range meta again. So starting off with the muzzle, we got the Casus brakes. It's going to improve that horizontal recoil and that firing aim stability. For the barrel, we got the 23 XRK Horizon V2. It's going to help with that bullet velocity, that gun kick control, and recoil control. For the optic, already know. For the underbarrel, we got the Bruin heavy support grip. It's going to help with that gun kick control, that aiming ideal sway, that horizontal recoil, which I think is quite important on this Bruin because it does have a bit of left to right on the recoil control, and that firing aim stability. And then for the magazine, this is huge, guys, to help with that mobility. It's got the 60 round mag. Honestly, ever since the buff that the Bruin received in the Reloaded update with the mobility improvements, it's absolutely insane, guys, so make sure to give it a go. Moving on to the HRM 9, I've got this at number 2, and I know a lot of you are going to find this controversial because I feel like every sort of quote-unquote Warzone pro is using this in ranked in tournaments, but for me, I just prefer the other SMG, which I got in at number 1, which I'll share with you guys in a minute. That's not saying this is a bad SMG. The HRM9 is absolutely disgusting, guys. Like, trust me, it's everything you want from SMG. The SMG I just have at number 1, I just prefer to the HRM9. It is just that simple, but I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash for not having this number 1. But the loadout anyway, for the muzzle, we've got the 735 compensated flash hider, vertical recoil, horizontal recoil, and that firing aim stability improvements. For the barrel, we've got the Fawn 90 barrel. It's going to help with that ADS speed, that sprint to fire speed, that sprint speed, and also, like I said, if you like tac stance, it's going to improve that as well. For the stock, we got the folding stock. It's going to help with that recoil control, that gun kick control, and that firing aim stability. For the underbarrel, DR6 hand stop, once again, it's going to help with that movement speed, sprint fire speed, ADS speed, that A walking speed, and then for the magazine we got the 50 round drum. Honestly, a top tier loadout right now, guys. Could be number one if you guys really wanted to go that way, but for me it's sitting at number 2 at the moment. Coming in at number 1 in this list, we have the double ram loadout. Yes, we have the ram 7 and the ram 9. That's the number 1 loadout to use in Warzone right now, and I'm going to start with this ram 7, guys, because I feel like this thing's been nerfed about a million times, but it's still absolutely insane. It shouldn't be meta, but it still is, and it's just what everyone is using right now, because still from those close range gunfights, I say close range, but for an assault rifle that's sort of under 40 meters distance, like 40 meters and under, it's still absolutely insane. And especially when you're playing resurgence or resurgence ranked, it is the perfect distance, or the majority of distance that you're going to be getting into gunfights. So it's still absolutely insane, and that's why everyone is using it right now. So starting with the attachments, guys, for the muzzle we've got the case of spray, horizontal recoil, and that firing aim stability improvements. For the barrel, I see a lot of people are using the Cronin headwind long barrel, but for me personally, I just prefer the XRK core mark 40 heavy barrel. I've tried both consistently, and I just feel like I'm more comfortable and I win a lot more gunfights when I'm using the XRK core mark 40 heavy barrel. It's going to improve that gun kit control, that aiming ideal sway, that recoil control, and that bullet velocity and range. Moving on to the underbarrel, we got the Bruin heavy support grip. It's going to improve that gun kit control, aiming ideal sway, horizontal recoil, and that firing aim stability. And the one big change I have made on this from my previous ram 7, because normally I would have a stock on it and would normally be the HVS 3.4 pad, because of the bullet velocity and the damage range nerfs that it received, I've put on this high grain round attachment to sort of counter that. So it's going to improve that bullet velocity and that damage range. And honestly, the gun's so easy to control anyway that you don't really notice taking the stock off anyway. I've got to be honest with you guys. So it literally still has basically no recoil anyway, if you can control the recoil. And then for the magazine, we got the 60 round drum, but the ram 7 still the top dog when it comes to the long range meta. And then moving on to the ram 9, this is my number 1 SMG. This is the SMG that I've got over the HRM9, and maybe it's just a personal preference, but I just feel like I win a lot more gunfights when I'm using the ram 9 instead of the HRM9. I mean, it does have a quicker TTK. That's what I say. From anything from under 10 meters, guys, this thing kills quicker than the HRM9. The only advantage that the HRM9 will have is probably those sort of weird distance fights, so sort of anything over 10 meters. That's when you're going to get the benefit of using the HRM9. But anything close range, the ram 9 is winning every time, guys. Like, trust me, it is absolutely insane. So starting with the muzzle for the attachment, it's got the 735 compensated flash hider. It's going to improve that vertical recoil, that horizontal recoil, and that firing aim stability. On for the barrel, we got the armistice light barrel. It's going to help with that aim down sight speed, that sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and sprint speed. And then moving on to the stock, we got the Hunker 5 stock pad. It's going to help with that gun kit control, that recoil control, and that tack stance. It's going to improve that as well, guys, which, yeah, really useful. And then for the underbarrel, you guys already know the DR6 hand stop, movement speed, sprint to fire speed, ADS speed, and aim walking speed improvements. And for the magazine, we have the 50 round mag, and that is just my number 1 SMG. I know, like I said, you could, guys, I'm being truly honest with you, you could go either way with the ram 9, the HRM9. It is just literally personal preference. I just prefer the ram 9, so that's why it's sitting number 1. So that is my top 7 meta loadouts to use in Warzone right now after the season 2 mid-season update. And let me know down in the comments if you think this list is a W or an L. Rank it from 1 to 10, guys. Just put in the comments 1 for an L or 10 for a W. Let me know down in the comments. And be sure to drop a like on this video, hit the subscribe button, and be sure to share and tell a friend if you guys enjoyed this video. We literally only have 2 weeks now left of season 2. Season 3 is just around the corner, and the potential return of Rebirth Island. So I'm super excited for season 3, and hopefully we get a good change in the Warzone meta as well. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.